Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Friday. It is the weekend. Welcome to season two, episode two of Comic Relievers. Tonight's going to be a nice, abbreviated, nice and short episode. No guests tonight. Originally, we had planned to have Sam Greenman on with us. He's going to join us for, I believe, what we're going to do is a Sunday night episode this weekend. Sam's going to join us. We may have Eric back on. I know Lou from our New York page wants to hop on as well. Um, kind of just touching on our first episode back last week. We're going to be kind of rotating the cast. We'll definitely still have Joe and Zach on. And this is just for you guys. This is to get more content out, more frequent episodes out. For the loyal folks who have stuck around from season one, I'm sure you guys remember. Big word with us was consistency, which we lacked, to say the least. So the hope for season two is that with this rotating cast, that we'll be able to get more content out, um, more baseball to you guys. Hopefully, get more of an interaction with the frequent episodes. So again, thank you to those who have stuck around. If you're new to the show here, we're very happy to have you. We appreciate any support. Before we get going, if you don't already, I need you to subscribe to Comic Relievers on YouTube. Space between comic and relievers, plain and simple. You should see season two, episode one, and this episode as well. In addition, if you don't already follow on Twitter, it's at Comic Relievers, all one word. And the new way where we're doing our audience questions this season is sending them to our Gmail account, which is comicrelievers@gmail.com. No spaces, no numbers, no nothing. Nice and simple. Tonight, like I said, real short episode. We'll run through what we usually run through. It's just me tonight. Um, I'm real excited. Anybody that's with us tonight live, thank you for starting your weekend with us. Really appreciate it. I'm excited to get going tonight. I just got some news that I got a new job. I'll be starting the 1st of July. So I'm in a great mood, saving the beer for after the show. But real excited to be back around. Hopefully, we can get these going much more frequently. And like I said, we really want to get the audience involved. So don't hesitate to send in the questions. Don't have any tonight. Like I said, it's going to be real quick. Thank you for joining. Let's jump right in. Same way we always do. We're going to start out with a quick standings update. As of right now, the New York Yankees sit atop the AL East. They're .5 games up on the Tampa Bay Rays, who continue to play well. Um, Good news for the Yankees. Both Judge and Stanton are entering the final stages of their rehab. Take that how you will. I'd say within the next week or two, you should expect to see both of them back in the Yankees lineup, which is obviously great for that team. Which is it's also just scary. The Yankees have, for lack of a better word, dominated, and even with the Rays off to such a hot start this year, and kind of taking the division by storm. Yankees stayed close, and now they've been tooth and nail fighting with the Rays. But I mean, they're getting guys back, and it's going to be a scary sight to see. Um, I mean, we talked about it briefly last episode. Their injured list right now could be an all-star team, frankly, depending on the positions and the guys we're talking. But they're starting to come back, starting to get healthy. And the guys that have been producing in the meantime, while the big names have been out, they're not going anywhere either. So who knows with the Yankees, man? Hopefully they don't keep it up, but I mean, hey, there's no denying they've come ready to play this year. So you got the Yankees up top, about a half game ahead of the Rays. I know the Red Sox were winning the last time I checked. They still sit 6.5 games back in first. Blue Jays and Orioles really not factored into the standings there. Both Blue Jays are 16.5 back, Orioles 20.5. A division that I never really liked anyways. Usually the Cleveland Indians would run away with the AL Central. Um, I would expect a fire sale coming from them at the deadline. Guys like Bauer, possibly Kluber. maybe Clevenger. Um, look for them to dump. Their kind of run with, kind of a stronghold on that division seems, it's about over. And I would not be surprised to see them really gut their roster and see what they can get back in prospects at the trade deadline this year. I mean, it's early. I don't necessarily say they're throwing in the towel. Kluber and Clevenger have been on the shelf with injuries. They've only pitched, I believe, 7 games. I know Clevenger's nearing a return. Kluber, eh. Um, but I don't know, man. They're in a weak division, 11 games back behind the Minnesota Twins, who have, I don't want to say been the best team in baseball because the Dodgers, record wise and offensive wise, at least, if not defensively and pitching as well, have absolutely ran baseball so far this season. But the Minnesota Twins, man, everything's clicking for them. Couple pickups in the offseason, would be just average on like a high end ball club or playing like superstars. Um, CJ Crone's one, Scopes another. I mean, it's just coming from all cylinders. Uh, I think that's going to be a team to keep an eye on at the deadline, not as a seller who they normally would be, but to see what they can get. Maybe they deal a couple guys and try and bring in another wing, Statenham, maybe bolster the bullpen a little bit, try and maybe get another power bat if possible. Again, it's Minnesota, not a lot of money to play with, but I'd say they are in better position than other teams prospect wise to get a deal done at the deadline. So definitely keep an eye on them. Like I said, the AL Central, though, real weak division. The Indians are 11 games back, White Sox 12, Detroit Tigers 19, and the Kansas City Royals 23 and a half. Um, I mean, barring a collapse of the Minnesota Twins after the All Star break, it's their division to lose. Again, real shocking. Last year they almost snagged the last wild card slot, but I don't really think anybody could have planned on the turnaround in the season they've had so far. Definitely fun to watch, and another team to keep an eye on at the deadline. You get the usual, the Yankees, the Red Sox, possibly the Indians, but they may be selling. You can expect teams like that to really try and make a move and make a long, deep run into the postseason, second half of the year. But the Twins, man, keep an eye on them. You know, I mean, it seems quite obvious now, but if they can keep this up, they're no joke. Moving over to the AL West real quick, Astros really running away with that division as well. 9.5 games ahead of the Rangers. The Athletics are 11 games out of first. Angels 12, Mariners 18 and a half. I mean, Seattle kind of got off to an outstanding start and fell off the map literally. Uh, didn't expect much from them anyways. They've pretty much traded or sold anybody good that's come their way. The Angels, eh, you know, they're the Angels. Got a couple guys, but didn't really build around Trout, Otani. Um, I don't see them making a run. The Athletics, are they going to pick it up and start to play better? Sure. And have they? Yeah, they're 6-4 in their last 10. Nothing crazy, but I'd like to see them make some noise. Maybe give Houston a run for their money. Texas is playing some pretty decent ball. If they weren't in a division with Houston, I don't see them continuing at this rate. We touched on last episode. A guy that's going to draw tons of interest at the deadline is Mike Mina. Started out in the bullpen early in his career, never really panned out as a starter, and then all of a sudden things are clicking. And he's definitely going to be a hot commodity come deadline time. Any team needs pitching, especially when it's a left-hander. And it's going to be interesting. I know we talked about it briefly. Again, I don't see Texas continuing at this rate, um, similar to a few other teams here. But I mean, you get the question. If they're still second in the division come the All Star break and the trade deadline, do you hold on to Mina, maybe try and grab a few pieces for cheap and make a run at it and try and catch the Astros? It's Texas. I don't think so, but I've seen crazier things. Um, Moving over to the NL, the Braves, they are picking it up, man. 8-2 in their last 10, game and a half ahead of the Phillies in first over there in the East. Phillies are still playing some great ball, but they're 5-5 in their last 10, as are the Mets, who are 6.5 games back. The Nationals, they had a little bit of a hot streak, now playing back some mediocre baseball again. There's 8.5 back, and then the Marlins are 14.5, even with their crazy stretch of good baseball. Just goes to show how bad the Marlins really are. Um, Derek Jeter ruined the franchise, but I'm not really complaining. I love the guy, great baseball player, but it's nice to see a Yankee do some failing. Over in the NL Central, more of the same. Brewers and Cubbies neck and neck. Right now, the Brewers have a one-game lead over the Cubs in the Central, but I would expect that to continue going back and forth. The Brewers are 7-3 in their last 10. Cubs are 6-4, so they're both right there, and I expect it to stay that way throughout the entire season. The Cardinals, even with their rotation struggles and the injuries, they're 4.5 back. Again, a lot has to go right for them. Um, and I guess you would even say a lot has to go wrong for the Brewers and the Cubbies for them to really run away with the division or even catch up. But, guys start to get healthy. Guy like Waka, maybe something clicks and he turns things around, then, it's a whole nother team. So, in the Central, you got three teams that could potentially win the division. Right now, I would say it's definitely between the Cubs and the Brewers, but can't count out St. Louis. Um, Although I'm not too thrilled with St. Louis at the moment. Some of you guys, most of you guys, I'm assuming, have heard the Boston Bruins lost the Stanley Cup on home ice to the St. Louis Blues in Game 7. Um, Still hurts. Yeah, still hurts. So we're moving on. Going to the NL West, like I mentioned before, Dodgers really running away with things. 9.5 games over the Rockies, who are playing pretty good baseball. Um, Diamondbacks are going through a nice stretch right now. They're 7-3 in their last 10. They're also 9.5 back. Padres, another team that's like really on the cusp, but because of their division, I don't think we'll do anything this year. But they're 13 back right now, and the Giants are 16.5 back. The Giants are another team that I believe will be heavy sellers at the deadline, so keep an eye out for that. Um, that kind of wraps up the standings. Nothing crazy has changed since the last episode. A few couple stories I wanted to run through real quick. We had already talked about Stanton and Judge entering the final stages of their rehab phase, so we won't do too much digging on that. But also in the AL East, if you guys didn't hear, Red Sox legend David Ortiz was shot in the Dominican Republic. He had a procedure or two done over there in the Dominican. The Red Sox sent a plane out to the Dominican and brought him back here, where he had another procedure. Things are stable right now. His wife actually just came out and, gave everyone an update. Things are okay, respect the privacy, what you'd expect. Um, as you guys know, diehard Red Sox fan, grew up watching David Ortiz. I'm sure many people, even non-Red Sox fans, will say we're pulling for you, Poppy. Pull through, get healthy. Wish you could have seen you waving the flag at Game 7. I think that would have, changed the Bruins' fate, but your health is more important, and we're pulling for you. And we hope to see that smile soon, my man. Seriously. Another cool story in the NL East, Mets catcher Wilson Ramos was in the on-deck circle when his wife came down to the first row. Now, this is when the man is taking his on-deck practice swings in the middle of a Major League Baseball game. But this is cool, man. Wife holds up a sign, basically reads, "Wilson, we're having our third kid." Now, just imagine that. As it is, you got a crazy life, man. You're playing Major League Baseball. You're in the on-deck circle, ready to take your hacks against some of the best pitching in the world, and you find out on national television in a Major League Baseball stadium that you're going to have your next child. That's a real cool moment for him. I believe he actually did not get on base that at bat. Nonetheless, real cool moment. Baseball's a great game, and things like that are what makes it even better. It's like on the field, off the field. There's always great things going on, and this is definitely one of them. Another cool story. You would think Ichiro has done this, but Shohei Ohtani is actually the first Japanese-born player to hit for the cycle in the MLB. Real cool story. It's nice to see him, getting healthy again, swinging the bat well. Don't know when and if we'll see him on the mound again, but I mean, the guy can hit, plain and simple, and it's pretty damn cool. I'm sure Japan is loving every second of this guy playing, but this is definitely a cool thing for him to call home and let his relatives, family, friends, and fans know he's the first to ever do it. Moving on, Albert Pujols joins an exclusive club with his 200th Angels home run. The guy's old, he's getting fat, can still swing the shit out of a baseball bat, plain and simple. For the second time in 2019, the power goes out in Tampa at the Trop. I would expect nothing less. I would even go out on a limb and say this is not the last time the power will go out, just in 2019. It's Tampa. I mean, aside from the fact that they're playing great baseball, everything else about the Tampa Bay Rays kind of sucks. So, you know, another cool stat here. The Brewers, who are playing outstanding baseball, coming off an MVP season, Christian Yelich currently leads the NL in both dingers with 24, as well as stolen bases in 14. And that's only been one time, 82 years ago. So, I mean, coming off an MVP season, the guy's just trying to break his own records and set some of his own. And really, I mean, it's kind of crazy. He came from the National League East with the Marlins and always was a solid player. Kind of must have been the market weighing him down a little bit, but never really got the recognition. And he got dealt, and it's like a new guy. Honestly, he's playing unreal baseball. If it wasn't for Cody Bellinger, I'd say he'd be the MVP favorite yet again. Definitely going to want to keep an eye on him, see if he can keep these numbers up. To lead the NL for a full season in home runs and stolen bases is not an easy thing to do. There's a reason it's only been done one time in 82 years, but something cool to keep an eye on. And we're pulling for Christian. I love the guy. I think he's a great ball player, good dude, and I do like the Brewers. So I'd like to see him do something crazy like that. This is a pitcher-friendly stat here. I have to share this. It's Comic Relievers. We're all pitchers here. The original cast, me, Joe, and Zach. It's how we really formed this show. One of the best, you could say the greatest. That's up to people's opinions. But 45 years ago today, Nolan Ryan struck out 19 batters in over 13 innings while throwing 235 pitches. Yes, 235 pitches. Um, Quite obviously, the game of baseball has changed. You rarely see a guy go over 110 pitches nowadays. I mean, he must have had a fucking rubber arm for a noodle. That's absolutely insane. I don't know. I don't know if people can really understand how wild that actually is. If I try to do that now, I don't think I'd make it out alive. Even at the peak of my playing career, my arm would be hanging for a week and a half if I tried to throw 150 pitches. So this guy's got that plus 100. I mean, just goes to show he could actually do pretty much anything on the mound. Wrapping up our stories here. This one I wanted to save for the end. Um, the Detroit Tigers are by no means, I would even say, a legitimate baseball team at this point. Um, they got some prospects, they got some guys, that are almost there, some young talent, but by no means are they in the conversation right now. But one of their few stud players, Nick Castellanos, one of the best right-handed bats in the American League. Sneaky power, always hitting doubles for a few years now. It's not just a recent thing. Guy's been a solid bat, and the Detroit Tigers reached out to him about possibly playing some first base for them. Flexibility-wise, help out the team. His response, which I think is absolutely hilarious. Um, for a couple reasons was, yeah, I'll move to first base when the Tigers give me a contract extension. And you know what? Normally, I'd say, screw the greediness. You're getting paid a lot of money to play a kid's game at the highest level. But you know what, dude? You're playing for the Detroit Tigers. I mean, unless they're giving you a max deal and a crazy extension, I wouldn't. I wouldn't go out of my comfort zone, risk an injury, risk messing anything up, um, without that sense of security. And you know, maybe he gets dealt at the deadline. Maybe he signs somewhere else after the season. But I don't blame the guy. I think it's hilarious, but I really, really, truly do feel for him. Um, why? It seems greedy. It sounds probably shitty, but I, I don't blame him. Give me my money and I'll do what you want me to do. But when you're playing for a shithole like the Detroit Tigers for as long as he has, and they really haven't made many moves to better their chances at a postseason run, I wouldn't switch anything up to help them out either. Um, it's pretty much all I got for tonight. Like I said last time I looked before I went live here, the Red Sox were doing well for my local guys here in Boston that are curious. JD hit a home run tonight, 2-run home run. Hopefully his back is doing better. Definitely need that guy healthy for us to even catch the Yankees or the Rays and make a serious run. And definitely will need him in the clubhouse and on the field. So it's good to see him back and swinging well. Brock Holt hit his first home run of the year. Great sign for him to be, back and really in the mix. Infield wise, the Sox have needed some help, and it'd be great to have him back. Obviously, he plays everywhere, but primarily second base, and nice to see. Seriously. Um, Again, no questions tonight from the audience. We were going to have Sam on as a guest. I didn't really have the time to do a full hour-ish length episode like we normally do tonight, so I apologize for that. But the plan is to have Sam and possibly Eric or Lou or both on with Sam. We're looking to do a Sunday night episode to wrap up the weekend so that you can tell your friends you started and finished your weekend with comic relievers. We're gonna, get some tweets out, some updates, so that you guys can keep up to date with us. But let's really, really get some questions in. It's gonna be more of a full episode Sunday, like normal. We're gonna really shoot the shit, take our time on things. Won't be rushing through everything like I have tonight. But I appreciate you guys taking the time, starting your weekend off with me. Friday night, I know people got some nice plans. I obviously do not. Um, I'm just gonna hang here, crack a couple beers, celebrate getting this new job. But I missed you guys. I wanted to get some content out, just to update you guys on a few things before I go tonight and wrap things up. Please, please, please follow us on Twitter if you do not already. That's where you're gonna get all the updates from the shows at Comic Relievers, all one word. Follow us or subscribe to us on YouTube. It's just Comic Relievers. Search us. You'll see episode 1 and now episode 2. Those are our only 2 videos thus far. We weren't able to transfer season 1 videos from Joe's YouTube account over to ours. Those are still up if you wanted to go back and take a peek. And then lastly, like I said, we're really pushing the questions. We want to get the audience interacting with us. Usually we get a Celeste question or a Chris Blackley question. It's on me. I didn't push the episode that well this week. I didn't know what was going to be going on. I had a lot of crazy stuff trying to get the application process and interview process for this job done. Um, but I'm here. I made it. It's Friday night. I'm doing an episode. Um, Again, thank you guys. So please send your questions for the next episode. Comicrelievers@gmail.com. Shoot them over. We'll answer as many as we possibly can. We won't be in a rush Sunday, so we'll get to all, if not a majority of them. Tell your friends, tell your family. Join us Sunday. Comic Relievers. We do not have a time yet. Follow the Twitter. That's where you'll find it. And subscribe to the YouTube. Send your questions to the Gmail. At the bottom of this, you're going to go like this video, subscribe, 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 tell your friends. We're ready. We're back. And thank you guys for starting your weekend off with me. I'm going to head out. Everyone be safe, be happy, enjoy yourselves this weekend. And before you go back to work or school on Monday, join us Sunday night, Comic Relievers, Season 2, Episode 3. Have a good night, everybody.